Hey there, folks. Welcome to the Cocodona 250 race briefing. I am Steve Adderholt, race director, and we're going to go through the information you need specifically for the 250 distance for the pre-race briefing. I'll be doing another pre-race briefing at the start line on Sunday night, the night before the race. That's going to be kind of a quick and dirty version of what we're going to go through right now, as well as some updates from the course markers that are out marking the course. And a Q&A session. So feel free to take part of both, or just watch this video, or not watch this video and just show up at the start line and take part of the safety or the course briefing there on Sunday. So let's get right into it. First off, the schedule. So packet pickup, you have two different options for the 250. One is Saturday, May the 4th from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. at our Aravaipa office here in Phoenix near the Phoenix airport. You can drop off drop bags and go through the pickup process. Or your second option is to come to the start line on Sunday. So Sunday, May the 5th, the day before the race, gates open for Deep Canyon Ranch at 1 p.m. Deep Canyon Ranch is our new start line location, different than in previous years. NAC, our bar partner for the race, is going to be leading a ShakeOut Run. They've got a couple of distance options. I think they're going to do a 3 and a 5 mile shakeout run for you. We're going to have a food truck there. Mad Honey food truck is going to be there serving food starting at about 2:30. The packet pickup goes from 2 to 5. Satisfy and HydroPack have a soft fat flask and bladder cleaning. So if your bladder's all gunked up, they'll clean it for you. It's just like a coat check. You drop it off and pick it up in about an hour later, and it'll be all cleaned up for you. And then the packet pickup goes from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. I'll be doing a race briefing right after 5 to 5:30, doing a race briefing and Q&A session. Highly recommended that you attend that to get the latest and greatest details that are coming in from our course markers. When you check in, we're gonna ask you if you have downloaded the course file to your GPS-enabled device. Most people, that's their phone. I'm going to talk about the course file being updated here in just a second. We're going to ask you if you have the Race Command phone number programmed into your phone. You should be getting a text from Race Command before Sunday, so you'll have Race Command's phone number in your phone. It's also on your bib and all over the race guide and website. You'll receive a bunch of goodies, including an awesome backpack. 2 race bibs, one on a bib belt and one you can put on your pack or really wherever you want. And you'll have the option to drop off any lightly used shoes that'll get donated to Souls for Souls and go to a good purpose. Monday on race start, the day you've been looking forward to for many months, Monday, May 6th from 3:45 to 4:45 a.m., we're going to be doing your 4-liter capacity check to make sure you have the ability to fill 4 liters of water at the first water station. You don't have to leave the start line with 4 liters of water, just the ability to fill 4 liters. So we're going to check that on Monday morning and then issue your spot tracker between 3:45 and 4:45 a.m. And then 5 o'clock a.m., we're going to get you started on the course. And crew is welcome to go hang out over at our hold area at Bumblebee Ranch at 6 a.m. And they can wait there to head up to see you guys at Crown King. Talk a little bit more about the hold area in just a second. The rules, which I hate to have rules at all. I much prefer for you guys to be safe out on the course and figure it out on your own. But first rule is close any gates behind you. You are going to be going through a number of gates. Most of them are on Forest Service property. And, if you leave them open, then we may not get permits in the future. So please close a gate if you come through it. You cannot receive any outside aid along the course other than at aid stations. So you can't meet a crew along the course. And they can't give you water or food, or can't receive any help from a pacer except for mental and physical, or mental and spiritual encouragement, but no physical help from a pacer. So only aid at aid stations. The other item is leaving the course. You can leave the course on foot to access a crew vehicle at or around an aid station. You can also leave the course to go to a hotel room and sleep and come back to the course at the same place you left the course. Or you can check out of an aid station at the aid station, leave your spot tracker, leave your bib at that aid station, get in a crew vehicle, drive to a hotel, sleep in that hotel, come back to that same aid station, get your spot tracker, get your bib, and continue along the course. So those are the two ways that you could leave the course. If you drop from the race, we hope that doesn't happen, but if you do, you need to do so at an aid station and make sure you check out with a staff member and fill a drop form out, and then no dogs. We had 3 runners bit last year by dogs. So as much as I love my dogs, we're not going to allow dogs at the race. Okay, gear requirements. So along all points of the course, you need to have a cell phone. It can be in airplane mode. If you do get off course, we're going to try to give you a call because we're watching your location to let you know you've gone off course. If you don't pick up, if it's in airplane mode, we're going to send you a text. But you do have to have the phone with you. GPS-enabled device, most people are carrying their phone with them. I highly encourage, if you're using a watch as your GPS-enabled device with the course file on it, to also have it on a phone, because those really hard to navigate intersections on a watch are sometimes hard to see where you're going, but a phone is much easier to scroll in and out. You need a headlamp along all sections of the course, collapsible cup, space blanket. Trust me, you definitely want a space blanket, and a whistle. Most packs have it on it, and if you can whistle with your fingers really loud, that suffices as a whistle. Okay, from the start line, you need to leave the start line with those pieces of gear and the ability to fill 4 liters at aid station 1. It is highly recommended, if you're a back-of-the-pack runner, to also have cold weather gear. Once you get up and you're climbing up into the Bradshaws, it gets very cold at night. The last runners will be coming into Crown King around midnight, and it will be cold up top. So you won't get to Crown King before it gets really cold if you're a back-of-the-pack runner. So I would recommend some sort of a jacket, puffy jacket, hat, and gloves if you are a back-of-the-pack runner headed into leaving the start line with those warm weather gear items. There are other sections of the course where we're going to be checking for other pieces of required gear. Those other pieces of required gear are gloves, warm hat, long sleeved shirt, an insulatory upper. So that's some sort of an upper that is a jacket or something with thickness to it, because it gets really cold at night. And then if it's raining or snowing, a waterproof jacket or hood. Waterproof jacket with a hood. It doesn't look like we're going to have any bad weather on the course, so I do not think we're going to require that at any place. Pacers are also required to have all those same pieces of gear at the locations we have the required gear. Those locations are at the Spring Energy Crown King aid station at mile 37, the Satisfy Fane Ranch aid station at mile 97, in Sedona at mile 162, Munns Park at 191, Fort Tut Hill at 211, and Walnut Canyon at 228. Each of those locations you must check out, and when you check out, we're going to check your name off and check your required gear. So check in with the captain at all of those locations to make sure you have the required gear. Weather, as I said, is looking great. The temperatures look cool and sunny and dry, which is great. Great race week for us. We talked about a GPS-enabled device. That course file is now final. We had a couple of last-minute course changes, including a slight change in the location of the Fane Ranch aid station. But as I said, the course GPX file is now 100% final, so go ahead and download that to your GPS-enabled device. We are cupless for cold drinks, so make sure you bring, whether it's a bladder or a flask or a collapsible cup, make sure you bring that to the aid station for your cold drinks. We are going to have cups for you for hot liquids. We've got hot chocolate and coffee and soups. We'll have a cup for you for all those items, but bring your own cold cup. We encourage your crew to drop off their trash and recycling at 2 aid stations and only 2 aid stations. Those are the Sedona aid station and the Fort Tut Hill aid station. We'll have a recycling sorting crew going through trash and recycling there to make sure we recycle what we can, and what we can't is going to go in the trash. So please have your crew drop off trash and recycling at Sedona and Fort Tut Hill. Your drop bags, we're requesting those to be about 60 liters at the biggest. That's 2 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot. So a small duffel bag. We ask that you clearly label those drop bags with your bib number and the aid station name. So no other information. We don't want your name on there. We don't want the mile of the aid station. That can often get confusing for our volunteers who will pull a mileage number, pull a drop bag for a mileage number, and confuse that with a bib number. So just your bib, just the aid station name on those drop bags. We have the option to drop bags at the start that will go directly to the finish. Yes, those can be a little bit bigger, but please try to keep them as minimal as possible for our staff. There is one drop bag that is moving locations. So one is going to go from the start line to Crown King to Fort Tut Hill to the finish. So that one is the only aid station drop bag that is moving. And then make sure when you go through an aid station and you've used your drop bag to move that drop bag to the used drop bag pile. That's going to help us get that drop bag to the finish line, to meet you at the finish line. If you don't move that drop bag to the used drop bag pile, it's probably not going to beat you to the finish line. Anything that's in the first half of the course, you don't have to do that. We're tearing down those aid stations and are going to move those all at once to the finish line. Anything past the halfway point, so dead horse to the finish line, please move those used drop bags to the used drop bag pile. Okay, bib numbers have been assigned. You can see those if you'd like. If you go to the homepage of Cocodona.com, there's a button right up at the top that says 2024 bib number assignments. Click on that and you can see, search for yourself and find your bib number, so you can let your friends and family know what your bib number is and follow you along the course. So speaking of the course, let's go through some details of the course now. Okay, looking at a full view of the course right now, we have a new section from the start line because our start line changed. So that's a new start out of Black Canyon City. That first stretch, we've talked about it a lot, to mile 33 is extremely hard. It is a required 4-liter capacity fill at the first aid station at Cottonwood Creek. We've got a water station at mile 10 where you can fill up 1 liter only. And then it's a really long stretch to the second water station at mile 25 where you can fill another liter. And yes, 4, 5, 6 liters is what most people are going through. So yes, you do need to fill 4 liters at Cottonwood Creek or you will not be allowed to continue on. Please do not underestimate the difficulty of that first stretch. It is very hard, very hot, and it is the hardest section of the course. So once you get up into the Bradshaws at Crown King, mile 37, temperatures cool off and it'll turn into a different race. If by that point in the race you're feeling like I just can't do this, just keep going. That's the name of ultra running, is just keep going. The course gets a little bit easier, not a whole lot, but a little bit easier. So just keep going after that. So Crown King, that is the first location where you can see crews. We're asking, because Crown King is a very tiny little town, if you want to call it that, we are asking for crews to check in at Bumblebee Ranch. They're going to get a parking pass. Bumblebee Ranch is on the way up to Crown King from the start line anyways, so they're going to pass. Your crews are going to pass right by it. Check in there. Once you get to a certain point on the course, we are going to release your crew, give them a parking pass, and then they can drive up to Crown King. That parking pass is required to get into Crown King. They'll get to see you in Crown King. Now there's a long stretch to the next station where they can see you. Next aid station where you can pick up crew and you can start with Pacers is the Whiskey Row aid station. It's a mile 78 right down in the center of Prescott. So that's a long day one where you won't get to see crew except for Crown King. Okay, the next section I wanted to talk about is the Dells. The Dells, Granite Dells, are just outside of Prescott, between Prescott and Prescott Valley. It's an awesome little stretch right along the lake, going through a bunch of granite, slick rock area. The course marking is hard to follow through here. Basically, if you keep the lake on your right and just keep going, you're going to come to the dam, go under the dam outflow right there. It's a beautiful little riparian area, and then continue on. But it is a little bit of course navigation, so have your phone out so you can navigate through that section. The next section to talk about is going into Fane Ranch. So the section through Fane Ranch is some cross-country travel. So this section here, you're going through just open grassland with no trail. Same with this section here after the Fane Ranch aid station. That cross-country travel will be marked really well. It does get most of it. You're right along the fence line for the 89A highway. Once you get into this section here, you're deviating away from 89A. That's where you're definitely going to want your phone with you. We're going to mark that really well, but it is cross-country travel. Okay, so Fane Ranch right now where the aid station is shown is a little bit off. We're actually going to be right over here, so it's very close to where it's shown now, but the file will be updated right after this briefing, so course file is updated, and you can go ahead and download it. Okay, the next stretch I want to talk about is once you get into Jerome. So once you drop down off of Mingus Mountain and drop into Jerome, the 125-mile course will join in right before you hit into Jerome. So for the front of the pack runners, you're going to already have passed this area. Right behind the front of the pack, the 125s are starting on Wednesday at 7 a.m., and they'll be on your same course for the rest of your course. That section leaving Jerome, going downhill, steep down a kind of a power line corridor and then jumping onto some private property through here. It is really steep and really loose and, pardon my French, but kind of bullshit. So anyways, that's the only connection there is between Jerome and Clarkdale. So you're welcome for that. At least we can run through there. Let's see. The next stretch of note is coming into Sedona. So you're gonna go into Dead Horse, and then from Dead Horse you're gonna get onto the Lime Kiln Trail eventually, and you're heading into Sedona. So this whole next stretch just gets better and better and better as you get into Sedona. If you're seeing it in the daytime, you're gonna be having to keep your jaw from hitting the ground because it's so beautiful. If you're seeing it during the daytime, it is probably also going to be very hot. So we have a water station after Deer Pass and before Sedona. In between those two, there's a water station there. And then after you climb up and out of Sedona and onto the Mogollon Rim, we will have another water station up there. Down, I guess, before you climb up to that water station, you're going to cross Oak Creek. The water levels are down, but you're still going to definitely get your feet wet. We will have a hand line across Oak Creek to help you get across there because it is quite rocky and the water is moving, even though it's down low now. It is a real big climb up to the Kazner Canyon climb, headed towards Schnebly. So that's a big climb. And then from there, you're on a lot of dirt roads and you can just start to cruise. The 125-mile course has to stop running at Schnebly, get on a shuttle, go to Munns Park, and then they can stop running again. They are skipping this section. You, the 250-milers, are not going to skip this section. So make sure you do not get on a shuttle and drive around. You would have to come back and start running again. So the 125s have a shuttle. You do not. Once you get up onto the Coconino Plateau, so after you leave that water station out of Sedona, it is very cold at night for the rest of the course. So we do have a mandatory gear check in Sedona. You'll have to check out of the aid station when you leave. They'll make sure you have the mandatory gear. Once you get up onto that rim at nighttime, from there on out, it is really cold. So that's why we're requiring the gear there. We've got another mandatory gear check at Munns Park. Okay, then let's fast forward over to Fort Tut Hill. So Fort Tut Hill is kind of your entrance to the Flagstaff area. Fort Tut Hill will have another mandatory gear check on Friday morning at 7 a.m. We've got the Elden Crest 38-mile distance. They start at the aid station right there with you. So that 38-mile race will start from Fort Tut Hill. I'm going to fast forward again to Mount Elden. So the 250 course deviates from the 125 and the 38-mile courses. You go up and over Elden, they do not. So make sure, when your course splits here and a few other places that you pay attention. We will have really good course marking that says critical race distance split ahead. And then it'll say, Cocodona with a certain color sign, right or left, and Sedona Canyons with a different color sign, right or left. So make sure you're paying attention to that signage. You're going to go up and over Mount Elden. There is still some snow up there, very similar to what it was last year. Right up at the top, there's when I checked about 10 days ago, there was a quarter mile of some snowbanks through that area right at the top. I imagine it's going to keep melting off by the time you guys get there, but might still be some snow. Then we've got a little bit of tiny change right at Buffalo Park to get you guys out of the park a little bit easier fashion. And then I guess I'd get ahead of myself. You're going to come down Elden from that road, coming down Elden Lookout Road. That last turn is a bit of a doozy. You're coming down for a long couple of miles down that road. There's a turn on a single track right there where it levels out. A lot of people in the past have missed it. We're going to mark it really well, but pay attention for that turn. And then once you get into Flagstaff, that last mile, once you get into downtown proper, you can have your friends, family, pacers, everybody join you. You just need to obey traffic laws and wait for traffic to cross and crosswalks. Otherwise, you can have pacers, crew, family, whoever join you for that last little bit into the finish line at Heritage Square for a finish at mile 249. All right, so that's the course. We're going to keep going with the information. So speaking of course marking. So it's standard course markings for an Aravaipa race. Positive markings are flagging tape that is orange with black polka dots with a reflector at the end, or pin flags that are orange that also have a reflector on them. Some critical locations, intersections will actually have arrow turn signs, and then wrong way is marked with a blue and white checkerboard tape. Some of the sections in town will have a sticker on the sidewalk that's about the size of a sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11, that's orange, that will have an arrow on it. So all kinds of different course markings, but orange is our go-to, meaning you're going the right way. Cutoff times. Okay, so cutoff times, you got 125 hours to finish the whole 249 point something miles of the course. Cutoff time is the time leaving the course, or leaving an aid station, not arriving an aid station. And if you are asleep in your van or a hotel and the sweepers pass you, you're cut off. You will have a spot tracker that'll get issued to you the morning of the race. We do have shuttles still available. So we've got a shuttle that leaves from the Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport for the start line on Sunday, the day before the race. There's also a shuttle option from Flagstaff. We have a parking area near the finish line, 0.2 of a mile away from the finish line. That'll leave there on Sunday afternoon to get to the start line on Sunday. There are a couple of shuttle tickets still left, so information can be found in the runner guide on shuttles. And if you have a shuttle ticket back after the race, back to the start line, those leave at noon on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So your shuttle ticket is good for any of those 3 days. You need to check in with staff at the finish line at 11:30 for your shuttle ride. If you know someone who wants to volunteer, we still need over 100 volunteers to help us out at the race. So if you have a crew that needs something to do other than crew you during the race, friends and family, or in the unfortunate scenario you DNF, please text Race Command and sign up for a volunteer shifts. But please, anybody that you can send our way to be a volunteer, we would greatly appreciate it, and they're going to help all the runners get to the finish line. We will be live streaming the event, so if your friends and family want to watch the live stream or your location along the course with the tracking from the spot tracker, feel free to point them to the website, cocodona.com, and there are links how to get to that live stream and how to get to the runner tracking. Can't wait to see you at the start line on Monday. And if you have any questions, please save them for the in-person runner briefing on Sunday before the start, and we'll see you at the start line. Thank you so much.